All right, guys, so this video, we're starting the Dela Riva series, building off of holding the ankle. So go ahead and go up. So building off of an ankle control is one of the most important initial grips to learn to play with, right? So before we worked off of starting with like a single sleeve like this, right? Which can turn into collar sleeve, or if he grabs this leg, can turn into double sleeve, and we can build all sorts of stuff off this. And when we get into grip fighting, learning how to build your game off of just a single grip like this is super important. However, when you're fighting, a lot of times it'll be hard to get to the sleeve, especially if you're on your back and you're doing like guard retention, the guy's almost passing. Often the first grip we're gonna have access to is gonna be the ankle, because maybe his hands are back or it's just difficult to get a grip. If I can grab the ankle and then get here, now I can start building from here. But of course, there's a lot of skill in knowing how to control with this grip and build your offense from here, okay? So this series is gonna be about starting from an ankle, and then also we'll be using this pant grip a lot to build our series, and we're gonna learn how to start with this grip and how to build out from here. Like maybe the guy grabs this leg and I get the sleeve, and we'll go to like sit-up guard, we can go foot in the bicep, we're gonna learn how to build off of the collar, and we're gonna learn to do a lot of different attack series from here, right? But again, the main idea of this is that you wanna be able to just go from here, and the guy's approaching you, to grabbing the ankle and learning to build our game from that. Once you're able to build your game off of an initial ankle or an initial sleeve, especially if you can do it on both sides. So if I just get this sleeve, or maybe he gives this one and I lasso here, now I collar sleeve, double sleeve, or he won't give me that and he leads with the other leg, right? I could grab the ankle here and learn to build from here. That's the key to going from being on your back, and like a lot of people talk about always being stuck in defense. They always feel like the guy's attacking and they can't find the offense. That's because they don't have initial grips they can build off. They learn things like close guard or spider guard or X guard, and those are all great positions, but to be able to get to those, you need to have these kind of fundamental starter grips, which are the single sleeve control or the single ankle control. All right, guys, so there's a lot of different variations of Dela Riva, so I'm gonna kind of define the series generally that we're gonna be working, and then we're gonna build from there, so go up. With Dela Riva, what people call Dela Riva guard, Dela Riva hook, like you guys saw in the collar sleeve series, bend this knee, is where this hook is in like this. That's a Dela Riva hook. But when we say Dela Riva guard in modern jiu-jitsu, a lot of times what people mean when they say Dela Riva guard is I'm holding the ankle, okay? So now actually a lot of times I won't even have the Dela Riva hook in, right? So it's kind of a weird thing in jiu-jitsu that people don't really talk about, but the Dela Riva guard, really I think of it more like ankle grip guard, okay? Now there's a lot of different variations of the Dela Riva guard, right? I can have the ankle, right, come down a little bit, right? So I can have the ankle and the collar, I can have the ankle and the sleeve. Sometimes you can like leg hug. Instead of holding the ankle, you can underhook like this and control here. Some people will wrap the lapel, leg hug, and do this. And all of these variations are a little bit different and have different aspects of control and different attacks. So it's really, really a broad topic, okay? So in this series, the main thing we're gonna be working on is the ankle control and the sleeve control. Okay, so we're gonna be starting off of this ankle or this pant control, and we're gonna be building with this sleeve here, right? And from here, this turns into like sit-up guard. It can turn into a foot in the bicep, which turns into like going underneath into like low guard. Come back up. It could turn into like pushing out here and going to Dela Riva X. There's a lot of different attacks we can do with this sleeve. So that's the first series we're gonna build off, is how to basically get a sleeve grip and build our game from there. The other aspect of Dela Riva we're gonna work on in this series is again the ankle or the pants with this hand, and then the right hand, instead of being on the sleeve, is gonna be on the cross collar. And we're gonna learn to build a lot of series off of this. Just so you understand how these are gonna fit, and we're gonna start with this sleeve when we start going in depth, is that often I'm gonna look for this sleeve. If I get this sleeve, then there's all sorts of attacks from there, and that's gonna be our starting foundation of building this game. But what'll often happen is if the guy's hiding that hand and I can't get the sleeve, now I don't have anything to do. Now I'm gonna start using the collar, okay? And then we'll start building all sorts of attacks off of the collar, knocking him backwards, come back up, maybe bumping him and trying to go underneath the X guard, and there's all sorts of attacks from that, okay? So the basic idea there will be, we'll be on our back, we get that initial ankle control, and then we're gonna start learning to build with the sleeve. So the first thing we do is we build with the sleeve, learn all the attacks from there, and then when the guy starts hiding that sleeve, we're gonna learn to use the collar and start attacking from there. And then sometimes the guy can make getting both grips hard, and in the end we'll go a little bit in what to do if he's making getting both of those grips hard. But I'm just trying to give you the basic framework of what this series is gonna look like. So now we're gonna start going into what to do once you get the sleeve. All right, so let's look a little bit into the mechanics of the Dela Riva hook and knee pressures. So before we start getting into the attacks, one of the important things to understand is how this knee pressure and Dela Riva hook function. So from now on, we're just going to assume that we have the pant grip. I do the ankle sometimes. I'll explain to you when I'll use the ankle and when I'll use the pants, but most of the time we're going to be using the pants. So I'm going to start with this pant control. I'm going to pull my elbow in a little bit and I kind of pull tight. I like my elbow in because it makes it a lot tighter. If you step your leg back a little bit here, it's got a lot of tension. When I'm out wide, I don't have the same pull. This elbow kind of drives into the floor, and also later it's going to help me sit up if I need to because I have this as like a post, right? A lot of times when you try to put a Dela Riva hook in, it's going to be hard, right? So a lot of people think that's because they're not flexible enough, right? But again, it's because that leg is straight. And if you remember in the collar sleeve series, we were attacking the omoplata if he left his leg straight, and if he got really tight with his elbow, then we would do the Dela Riva hook. We don't have that threat here. So often what I do here is I'm going to drive my left knee pressure really hard into his knee. It creates almost like a knee bar effect, okay? So it puts a lot of pressure on his knee. Now, he may or may not drive back in. A lot of people will drive their knee back in. Go ahead and drive it in. As he drives that in, that's going to make this hook really strong. Okay, now I have a very strong Dela Riva hook. If I have the sleeve, I can start creating off balance with this. I can start bumping him backwards. All sorts of attacks will open with that strong Dela Riva hook. But if he doesn't push back with the knee, that's okay. I'm completely fine playing all the series from here with strong knee pressure like this. The benefit of this knee pressure, turn this way a little bit, is one of the main things your opponent is going to be trying to do when you're in Dela Riva is he's going to be trying to trap this leg in between his legs, which allows him to start doing like a knee cut pass. You can grab the lapel up here and start knee cut passing. So now he might start trying to knee cut pass of some kind. He might trap this leg and then start folding passing this way of some kind. Exactly, right? Or he might even try to leg drag. He might just grab this leg and try to pull it across, okay? All of these are going to be way harder to do when I have strong knee pressure. You see how I kind of made him take a step back there? So step forward with this a little bit. Like there, yeah, see, yeah, like into me a little bit, yeah. See, when I do this, that kind of pressure makes him step back. It gives me counter pressure to pull my leg back. It's very similar to like when we had this lasso here and like this was trapped, I would push to get this leg back. I need counter pressure. That's what this knee does, right? So if I'm here like this and he's trying to trap the leg, see, it's a lot harder for him to trap. I have more room to pull this back with that knee pressure. Now, if he drives the knee in, then I get the hook. And then now I can off balance and do things with that, but also I can still create counter back pressure with that. So if I can't get the hook, it's knee pressure. If he drives into the knee and his leg is bent, drive your knee in and leg bent, then I can get the Dela Riva hook. See, so knee pressure, Dela Riva hook, knee pressure, Dela Riva hook. That's a really important thing to understand when we're building this series from here, okay? All right, so let's look at the basics of controlling with the far sleeve. So we're here, we got the pant leg, knees in, right? So like I said before, the main thing he's going to be trying to do with this hand is in some way, usually he's trying to trap this leg or drag it across, right? This hand can either be on my lapel or my leg. We're not going to worry too much about that right now. We can get into it later. Right now, regardless what this hand's doing, he's either going to grab my pant leg or he's going to grab my ankle. Okay, and what I always want to be doing is strong knee pressure because it makes it way harder for him to trap because there's this pressure pushing him back. If I'm loose here, like if I try to put this hook in and it gets knocked down, now when he tries to trap this, I don't have anything to kind of fight back with. So I want this knee pressure, right? So now what I want to do is I'm always going to have my right hand active looking for this. Right? If I'm lazy here and he starts grabbing my ankle to trap, go slow motion, right? As he starts trapping slow motion, now I'm a bit behind as I'm chasing that sleeve, right? But if I have my hand here ready, as he's grabbing, see I'm already deflecting his hand with my palm, right? So as he's starting to grip, I have my foot moving, I'm kind of being a pest like this. So now even if he starts to make a grip, go ahead and start, I'm getting the sleeve at the same time. Okay, now there's two ways he's gonna grab. He's either gonna grab the pant leg or he's gonna grab the ankle, right? My leg positioning with my right leg, I like to angle my knee inward and my foot out a little bit like this. It actually makes it way harder to drag across and way harder to trap. If you're here, it's just a quick yank to pull the leg across or a quick push to trap it. But when you angle here, right, it becomes much harder. See, grab to drag it across. It's like so much harder to drag that all the way across the body, right? So it's kind of, it makes a bit, small detail make big difference. Angle here, hand ready. So if he grabs the pant leg, that's the easiest. When he grabs the pant leg, he has a good grip, but he doesn't control where my foot goes. So even though he has the pant leg, it's hard to push it down because he's pushing on the pant, my foot can stay up. So now I can break past the body, I go palm up, and I angle my knee inward. This is very similar to like when we were in double sleeve and we had the lasso leg past body, the same kind of thing here, where it's hard for him to push this leg down. It gives me a nice, stable rest control position, okay? So we're here, right? So if he tries to grab the pant leg, I'm just gonna get the sleeve and break past the body, go palm up, and I can control here. I have that strong knee pressure. If he drives his knee in, then I can have the Dela Riva hook. Either one is okay. But I always start with the knee first and to make him pressure so that he drives the knee in or just stays there, okay? Now, let's say he starts to grab the ankle. Turn this way a little bit. Right. If he starts to grab the ankle, now it's a little bit harder to break because at this angle, I'm kind of kicking into his palm. But what I do here is when he does this, it's easier to break in some ways. So I'm gonna pull and I go inside to pull the fingers off of the ankle this way, right? But I do a very short kick. So what that'll look like is as he grabs the ankle, I pull here and I do a really short kick. And this knee pressure is very important here because that's gonna give me the distance to keep him back. I do this short kick and now I bring my foot back out. Now I can go back to the same position with the shin angled inward with my palm up, and now it's very easy to control from here. And from here, we can start building all sorts of offense. I can push the hip out, we go to the bicep, we can build all sorts of different attacks, but this is just like your baseline control. It's really important to have these like kind of rest stall positions. I don't mean stall in a way that you're like trying to stall the fight, but sometimes you're gonna be super tired. Maybe you're fighting someone who's younger than you, more athletic. Maybe you're in a tournament and you just fought a guy who had a bye, so he's fresh, and you just had a super tough match and a 5-minute break and you're dead tired. So you gotta have these positions that you can control and rest in as a waypoint to decide what you wanna do next, right? So I'm here again, he goes for the pants, easy. I just break past the body, go palm up, right? Make sure when you're breaking to pull hard with the arm too, right? A lot of people break and they let their arm go with it. You got a counter motion. So knee in, I angle my knee in as I break and I pull this off, right? I don't wanna kick into the grip, I wanna angle it and rip it off, right? If he grabs the ankle, then I do that short kick in between, bring the foot back out, and now I control here with the palm up. All right, so let's look at our first attack series from here and go to the sit-up guard. Okay, so from here, right, we have the pants. So when I do this sit-up guard, once I get this initial grip and I break here, now I'm gonna switch back to the ankle with my left hand. And the sit-up guard, I really prefer to control the ankle or the heel. Okay, so from here, what I'm gonna do now, when I'm ready, I'm gonna bring my foot back and I wanna push high on the hip, okay? If you try to push on the thigh, sometimes the guy can angle his knee inward a little bit, and then it's hard to push his leg out. But no matter what, when you push on the hip, he'll step back like this, okay? And also, you push him back further. When you push on the hip, sometimes like you're here, when you go high on the hip, you get that extra inch there, right? So that pushes him back, right? So now what I wanna do, angle that way just a little bit, yeah. So that's perfect, yeah. So once I push him out here, I have this palm up. What I wanna do is I'm gonna cut my left heel in behind his calf, okay? I wanna make sure I have a little bit of distance. If my leg is in tight here, if this is like kind of bent back, it's hard to sit up, right? So the key is to push him back and get this extra distance. From here, I clamp my left heel in. If I want, I can extend and rock back a little bit. And now I'm gonna sit up and go really deep on this single leg. This is one of the most important details here. You don't want to have this huge separation between you and their leg. That's what makes it really hard to finish this, okay? So to do that, when I sit forward, it's almost like I want to like touch my chest to his knee. I always imagine like I'm jousting with my arm. I go really far forward and then I wrap this knee tight. There's no room for an underhook from him. I'm really tight, it buckles his knee. It's a very, very tight grip. From here, I'm gonna grab this sleeve like this. Now I can go high on the lapel. I'm gonna pull my elbow tight. And when I finish this, I wanna drive forward. I don't wanna fall back. Scoot this way just a little bit, right? Perfect. Okay, so I wanna drive forward when I finish, not back. A lot of people, they try this and they fall back and open this gap up. And then if they miss the initial sweep, now, yeah, stay right there, it's perfect. Yeah, now it's like really hard to regain the position and stay tight. I wanna stay forward. So now when I'm here, even if I take him down, sometimes they just sweep, so I'll sweep you once, right? Sometimes they just like actually fall all the way, yeah. And it's easy to come up, right? But often they'll do what Tomek just did there, right? Often you'll be here and I take him down, but he still kind of keeps his balance a little bit, right? Like this. When I'm forward, now it's very easy to keep my weight behind his hamstring, drive and come up and finish, right? So that forward motion is really critical. Okay, so again, we're here, we have the ankle. I'm like this. I push that hip out really far. If I need to get that extra distance, clamp the heel in tight, sit up and go deep. I want to get my weight behind his thigh. If I need to, I can even scoot out a little bit to the side like this just to get behind that leg. Now I'm going to grab this sleeve. I grab high on the lapel. I keep my left foot on the floor, drive into the hip, and I drive forward. Here, I can just come in, I push the lapel away, drive up, and come on top. Okay, we're here. I push the hip out really far, sit up, get high on the sleeve, high on the lapel, pull, drive, and if I need to, come, like stand up. I just keep driving that lapel and walk him down. This can turn into different pass variations. I'm not gonna go super in depth on the passing right now. But that's the basic sit-up guard series, and now we're gonna start building off of that initial start sequence. All right, guys, so let's look at the next sequence in the series, which is when you go up for the sleeve, he's gonna pull his sleeve away, and then we're gonna build from there. We're gonna start off with the exact same start sequence. We push the hip out, scoot this way a little bit. We push the hip out, we go up high, we go for the sleeve. So now when we go for the sleeve, he's gonna posture away. So now it's hard to get this sleeve, okay? So there's a couple ways we can deal with this. So one thing I can do sometimes when I go up here, I can kind of pull back on his knee to buckle his knee and try to get this lapel. If I can do that, that's always the best. If I can't, stay postured up here. If I can't get this, I'll let go of the sleeve, pull this lapel out, and now I'm gonna feed it. The best though is always, if I can get this kind of like, almost like collar choke style grip, that controls his posture. See posture up here? This controls his posture the best, right? This here is good too, but that one's the best if you can get it. But again, if he like super deadlifted away, posture really hard, it's hard. I can try to bring him back down with that and try to get to it. Just do the best you can. Once I get this lapel grip, we're gonna do two variations of this. So this one, we're gonna do the first one, which is if he stays postured up here, right? Like this, okay? And he stays up. Now I'm gonna put my right hand on the floor, put my left foot behind me, and I'm gonna do a technical stand up and pull this leg into the single leg. From here, there's a lot of different finishes for a single leg. I'm not gonna go super in depth. I just like to grab this far leg, I pull the knee in, I drive with my head into his ribs, and I put him down here. Okay, so we're here, we're gonna push the hip out, right? Push the hip out, I go up for the single leg here, he pulls away, posture up, right? So I can't get the grip. Now I'm gonna pull this lapel out if I have to, and feed the lapel. If he stays postured up here, stay postured up, right? Now that's when I'm gonna go up on the single leg. I'll show you in the next video what to do if they come back down. So now I'm gonna come up on the single leg. So there's two ways to come up. One is I put my right hand on the floor, I put my left foot behind me, and I do kind of a technical stand up like this, grab here and pull this in, and now I can grab the pants and finish. The other way of coming up is if I'm really far forward with my shoulder, like I talked about in the beginning, keeping the pressure behind the leg here, then it's actually pretty easy to come up just doing this. But the key to doing this, at first it's gonna feel really hard because he can drive his knee back in to put you down, right? But if you have your weight forward, my like left tricep or like shoulder bicep area, driving behind his hamstring, takes all of his weight off of that leg. So it's really hard, see, drive back into me? It's really hard for him to prevent me from coming up, right? So if you get deep enough on that leg initially, you can always just drive through it. So that looks more like this. I would be here, I go here, I get that lapel grip initially, I'm here, and now I would just go right there, control the leg, pinch my knee so he can't get his foot back to the floor. I grab this pant leg, drive with my head into the rib cage, pull, put him down, and now we're finishing, okay? So we're here, we push the hip out, we sit up, we go for the sleeve, can't get it. Worst case, let go, feed this lapel. He stays postured. I keep my weight behind there, turn in and drive behind the hamstring, pull this leg in. Here, grab the leg, we'll go to the other side. Grab the leg, drive with my head, boom, and then I try to pressure to the side. All right, so let's look at another series from here. Okay, so now what's gonna happen, same start, we're here, I push the hip out, I sit up, I go for the sleeve. Now I can't get the sleeve, but I get this lapel instead. Sometimes if I know the guy likes to posture a lot, I won't even go for this sleeve. I just go straight for this lapel so that I get his posture more, okay? But you can go for this, then he posture away, right? If I can't get it, I can try to pull him back in to try to get this. Worst case, I pull this out and get this. Either way, I get the lapel. So now the guy knows the single leg might be coming where I'm gonna post the hand and stand up, right? So often what people will do, he can't progress back into knee cut until he pushes this leg down. When he goes to push that leg down, I know he's gonna do it preemptively. He pushes it down, I'm gonna get this sleeve. So what I wanna do here is as he drives his knee into me, which is what he's gonna do, if he doesn't, my foot's just gonna come right back up and I'm gonna be threatening the single leg. So they kinda have to drive into you. So if he starts to drive into me, we're gonna go really slow here. I'm gonna get a bump using my feet. So what we wanna do, watch my legs here. As he pushes this down, I wanna lift my knees first. I wanna get my feet up. So we're gonna go super slow motion. As he drives in, slowly drive in, right? As we go here, look how my feet go up, and I want to get my toes under his thigh. I don't want the flat of my feet. I want the toes here. So I tuck this arm in between his legs so he can't post, and as he drives his knee in, drive your knee in, I'm going to bump up here. That's going to force him to post this arm across the body. Circle this way. Yep. And freeze there. Perfect. Right? So I just bumped in here, and now I post the hand. When he posts that hand, post a little higher right now. Yeah. When he posts that hand there, now I can grab the tricep here. I'm gonna push this out and go down like a karate action figure toy, like this, with your arm. I push out and go down. Now it's really easy to come up onto this single leg. Scoot back a little bit, right? This is really easy to come up onto this single leg. A lot of people will just immediately fall here because they intuitively feel this is a really bad spot. So if you just like fall to your butt kind of there, and now I'm gonna finish and I got the sweep. Go back up, right? However, if we're here, and I have this, and he tries to continue fighting, this blocks him from turning back into me, right? So now it's really easy to start switching and trying to look for the back. Usually what I do here, I keep this single leg, put that on the floor. I keep this single leg grip initially, and now I'm gonna go across with this right arm for the lapel. Posture up a little bit so that you can see. I go across here, go back down, right? And then now I'm gonna switch to the other side, and then I get the same grip on the other side. So it's like double lapel grips underneath. Now I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna take my left foot across, hook his thigh, and just bring him down here. So again, we're here, we push the hip out, we go up here, scoot this way a little bit. Okay, we go for the lapel, he pushes my leg down, right here my toes go in, I bump, go here, come up. So we got the lapel, we go around to the other side, here, and now I'm gonna open his elbow up with my left elbow, I shoot my left foot across, and I just drive to the floor here. Now I can throw the hook in and get the back here. All right, one more time, I push the hip out, we go up here, I can either go straight for the lapel or I go for the sleeve. If I go straight for the lapel, he pushes this leg down. Again, remember to bring your knees tight first and get your toes up under the thighs, hamstring, or butt, right? So as he drives in, drive in, I bump, right? If he doesn't post that hand, he's just gonna fall, right? So I kick really high, he's gotta post that hand. I grab the tricep, come up and finish here. One more thought here as well. Sometimes guys will make this mistake when I go here, right? Of when I go for this here, they'll dig this underhook here. If they dig this underhook, they feel like they're about to pass you because they got a deep underhook, but as long as I have this, dig this underhook deep, same thing happens. He drives in, now he can't post that arm across, he's just gonna do a flip. And then it's really easy to come up. That's a very common mistake when you have that sleeve. Guys will dig that underhook and give you that bump. All right guys, so let's look at another situation when you go to the sit-up guard and get the sleeve. So another common situation, it's gonna be the same finish as the ones before, is I push the hip out here, I go to sit up, now I'm gonna get the sleeve, but once I get the sleeve, he's gonna push, even though I have the sleeve, sometimes he still pushes this leg down. So when he pushes this leg down, the way I'm gonna bump is a little bit different than the previous one. So I have the sleeve, I don't have the lapel like before. I have the sleeve, I have this lapel here, but it's not the same thing as when I was here or when I was here pushing on the hip. So now what I'm gonna do is I put my left foot on the floor and I'm gonna put my right foot under his tailbone and I'm just gonna pull and drive really hard with the shin under the tailbone. Once he posts the hand, it's the same exact finish as before. I push out, turn, come up, and we have the same finish sequence, right? Okay, we're here, right, we push the hip out, we go for the sleeve. I get the sleeve, but he pushes the pants down at the same time. So now this leg's gonna go right in the tailbone, left foot on the floor, and I drive really hard. The more you drive with this, the more they'll have to post out, right? Go back. Sometimes if like you're doing it lightly, they might post close to you, so like post kind of close to my head. Now it's actually really hard to move and come up, right? So go back. So it's really important when you do it that you really get a lot of force. That made him really post forward. Now it's really easy here to turn and come up and start working for the back. All right, so let's talk about dealing with the back steps. Okay, so what's gonna happen here is sometimes you're gonna push this hip out We come up here and I go for the sleeve or the lapel. It's the same situation for either one. And what can happen is as you're here, he's gonna do kind of like a back step to like reverse half guard and then come down like you're gonna, yeah, exactly. And the guy starts getting you here, right? And that can be kind of a tough position. So there's two main ways of dealing with this. Like preemptively, the best thing is if I have his hip really pushed out and I clamp this leg in so that he's kind of this way and I go deep here, my weight's so forward here, it's really hard. So you start backstepping here. See, it's really hard because I have the weight forward, right? That makes it hard. But nonetheless, sometimes they will backstep. So the big thing I want to feel, I can feel his movement so easily because of how tight I am on his leg. I can feel the movement well, right? So from here, when I feel the back step coming, I want to lift my foot up high, right? Go back this way. If you try to go for the back step by chasing the leg, it's possible he'll step over it. And then you miss it and you end up in that tough spot. What we want to do instead is when we sense the back step coming, just lift your foot up. Now when he, see back step now? It's really hard to clear that, right? So go back. So what I'm going to do is as I feel the back step going, we're going to turn this way. As I feel the back step going, I'm going to block and I'm going to switch this hand from the sleeve to the collar. I'm going to put my fist in his neck. So now as he backs up, so you'll post your hand on the floor, right? I push here and now I'm going to switch this butterfly hook in. So here I'm just going to put my fist in the neck to push him away. And now it's easy to sneak out to my knee and come up on top here, okay? So again, we're here. I push the hip out. Let's get this way just a little bit. Right. So I push the hip out, I go here, I start to sense that back step, so I immediately lift my foot to catch, switch this fist into the neck at the same time. This here blocks him and it makes him have to post this. If he doesn't post this, he's gonna fall. So now I push and I feed this butterfly hook in, and now I'm gonna start lifting with that right foot as I punch his neck away with my fist. See, come back into me. It's really hard to come back in. Now I sneak up on my shoulder and knee, and I come up on top. Sometimes when you do this, we're here and he goes for the back step, right? Boom, I catch, right? I go here and I can't quite get him to go forward and he starts to come back into me. Yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna spin him to the other side and try to come up here. Worst case, if you don't get this sweep, you can still just go back to the original series, right? So I could be here, I go like this, he goes for the back step, I catch, we go here, then he goes back there, I try to swing, I can't get it. Try to bring this foot back out on the hip if I couldn't come up. And now I'm here, I could start threatening the single leg again. If he grabs this leg, now I get the sleeve, and now I'm back in this bump, and I keep that cycle going all the time, okay? We're here, break the grip, hip out, go for the sleeve, he starts to back step, I lift the foot, fist in the neck, butterfly hook and lift, scoop my knee back, and come up on top.